Hey guys, just wanted to walk through how I reapply a DWR to my pants, jackets, and any of the waterproof membranes I use. A couple supplies that I use. The best thing that I found, and I've used all the wash-in, knit wax, and all those different materials, including Granger. I've used that. 3M also used to have a material that you could spray on, but the best I actually found is this 303 fabric guard. So this stuff is actually designed for Sunbrilla material, things that are outside, but I've honestly found that it's the best for DWR application, and usually will go 20-25 days before I have to reapply, depending on how high use and high wear the areas are. I found places like the front of my legs often wet out the first, because of just leaning up against my truck when I'm pulling my skis out, and other things like that. Sitting on chairlifts, it's the most exposed when you're sitting there, or anything like that. So any of those high wear areas, this is going to wear off faster, but that's the same with all DWRs. Of course, you can kind of refresh DWR by just throwing your gear in the dryer. That will help kind of reset it. But then after 30 days or so, I often find myself needing to reapply. I'll go ahead and link this 303 in the description. They sell it in, of course, 32 fluid ounces, but also 128 fluid ounces, or a full gallon. So I get a full gallon and I just add it into my bottle. Some states are beginning to ban it because it's, I think, a 6 carbon based a DWR. So I think California no longer sells 303. And so if you are in one of those states that can't get it, hopefully you have a friend that lives in another state that can buy it for you and ship it to you, because it's the best stuff. Other things that I like to point out is I've got Dawn. I've got a scrubby that my grandma makes, but you can use any of these kind of Brio type pads, anything that'll help you get the grease off. And this is just a squirt bottle with water in it. So first step that I always do is go ahead, set your pants up here, and on the high wear areas where there's going to be a lot of grease, I just wet them down, take some of my Dawn, put it on my scrubby pad, and then just get the grease off of it, because that way when you put your WR on, it's going to adhere much better to the material. On the other side, these high wear areas. Once you've got kind of what you're sufficiently happy with, I'm going to flip them over to the butt, because that's also a high wear area. Sitting on chair lifts, any of that stuff is something that really is going to wear off that DWR coating. And oftentimes chair lifts are covered in grease too. Grease is something that, once your membrane, or sorry, the textile on the outside, gets grease on it, it's going to be kind of one of those entry points into the membrane. So if the water sits on the fabric on the exterior, how most kind of Gore-Tex work is you've got the face fabric here. This has got it's a nice heavy denier on the front. And then behind that is actually a waterproof membrane. And that's what actually is like allowing your water vapor in the form of sweat to leave, and no water to come and permeate. So if you start to see water kind of pool on the exterior of your membrane, that's what we call wetting out. And what happens is when you wet out, then your membrane, your Gore-Tex, can no longer transfer sweat from the inside of your shell through the membrane to the other side of the denier, and then you can't evacuate that. So you begin to see that your breathability is impacted, as well as the waterproof kind of qualities of your face fabric with your Gore-Tex membrane behind it. So now that I'm sufficiently happy with this, I'm going to pop these in the washer. I just wash them on cold with no detergent, and that will help kind of get rid of all of this dawn. And then I'll be able to come back after I pop them in the dryer and they dry out, and I'll reapply the DWR to the exterior of the fabric. So I'll pick up with that. Okay, now having washed these guys in cool water and then dried them, you can see that a lot of that oil and grease that were on them has completely come off, and it's nice and clean. So the last little bit here is I'll just take my 303, and I think things that you should know is this is a volatile substance, so after you spray your pants or jackets down, have them in an area that's going to vent, so that way it can completely dry and not have to worry about any off-gassing from the solvent that this is kind of dissolved in. Once they're completely dry, then you can throw them in the dryer to kind of fully activate that DWR, and then they'll be good as new. So kind of what I do here is there's a couple different ways. Typically, actually, I'll just hang them on a clothes hanger, suspending them up, and then I'll just kind of gum down and just work down spraying. But since you guys are kind of watching from this camera, that's not as easy to do, so I'll just go ahead and kind of wet them down, so that way everything here is taken care of. Making sure to really get the crotch and all these exposed areas, because that seems to be where the heavy use is. Just flipping them over. And then getting the butt as well. You'll see here, you can kind of work through them pretty easily. Let's get everything. And once they're all wetted down here, like I said, we'll just put them in a nice well-ventilated area to dry fully. That's about as much as you've got to do. Sweet. Alright, so pull them out of the dryer. I just wanted to kind of show you guys what it looks like when it all beads off here. So you can see all of that just forms on the nice barrier and wipes off. Doesn't wet out. Perfect. Sweet, guys. Thanks for watching. Again, I'll link all of this in the description here, but there's the 303 fabric card for outdoor fabrics, so that way you guys get up a bottle, and hopefully your state allows you to buy it.